the debt that we owe them.
Call Mike Sabin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I let's make a short contribution, but I just want to acknowledge a few people. Firstly, obviously, the Minister and the work that he has done with this bill, and actually a heck of a lot of work across this labour space and the safety and health and workplace safety, and still a lot more to come. I just want to also acknowledge three particular members of the Select Committee, or members that have contributed to this particular bill, and they are Damien O'Connor, Chris Okenvold, and of course the member who's just resumed his seat for his heartfelt contribution. And I just want to acknowledge to all three that as someone who has a little knowledge or experience in this area, who doesn't come from the area, I think you've absolutely represented your constituents, your experience and those views very, very well. I don't necessarily agree with all the views that are shared, but I certainly respect all of those members for their contribution to this legislation. And I think for me, I mean, the genesis of this is a tragic event, and we've reflected well on that, and so we should. But the important thing is, in acknowledging the mistakes, the oversights, looking back through a lens, a 2020 hindsight lens, is to ensure that the balance is achieved, and so that the pendulum is not seen to swing too far. Because in every matter of health and safety, there's two elements to it really. It's about the systems and the processes that we have in place, and obviously this place has a role to play in that legislative framework that assists and establishes the right platform for that. But there's also the human element, and that human element is one that can't be underestimated in terms of the role that each individual must have in using their common sense, their work experience, their training, and their compassion, care and understanding of the environment in which they're working and the colleagues that they're working with, as to the role that each individual must play in terms of health and safety. Now, while there's some legislative levers that we can pull in terms of ensuring compliance with that, we can never escape the fact that that every individual in every workplace has a role and a responsibility to think and act and work in a safe manner, and we must support them to do that. But when we go too far in terms of swinging that pendulum so that that role and responsibility, that personal responsibility for the individual is somehow taken away and replaced by some system or some lever or consequence and so forth, it can sometimes result in people defaulting to the system and forgetting about themselves. And I in no way am suggesting that is the case in terms of the Pike River disaster or anything that's led to this legislation. I make it simply as a point, as a balance in legislation, that we should always remember that it's a match between the systems, the processes, the levers that we put in place, and the individuals and the humans that contribute to working them, if you like. So I just want to reiterate that this piece of legislation does create three effectively new streams or levers. Creates WorkSafe New Zealand, a new regulatory regime that puts clear expectations on hazard management and everything that falls underneath that, and of course the new Mines Rescue Act. And the importance of that, and I think Damien O'Connor has rightly pointed out the importance of the skill sets that come with those that are involved in this particular industry, underground mining, and the difficulties and challenges that it brings. So again, I just want to commend those members for the contribution that they made to the passage of this legislation. I think while we don't agree on everything, actually what we have done is got a good piece of legislation that I hope can help give effect to making the New Zealand workplace, in particular in the mining area, a safer one.
I call Barbara Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.